for the ride of your life. Shop now.
All my life been looking for it. I think I found something to help with easing the pain. This voice inside my head isn't dead. I think it's growing. Soon we will be one and the same. I've been going to the racetrack. Spent all my money on the dog in the bed. I put my heart into an 8-track. How about that? My life was perfect, now it's starting to crack. Oh no.
Good afternoon and welcome back to World Sim Series Racing Action, and welcome to the Botniaring in Finland for the last round of the E-Batcc. The new season 6 of this championship. New cars, new drivers, some returning drivers as well, and it all comes down to this one final round from Finland. Looking at the driver standings, it is Edvin Ziedas at the top, but he isn't here today. He's not racing, so Grantas Kratskas takes over the championship lead. Well, he really just needs to finish. He is 41 points ahead of Adam Kashoni, and well, this is going to be a very, very difficult race and challenge to beat. So, as always, I'm joined by Lorinas.
Yep, and welcome everyone to the very final round of E-Batcc 2025. This is gonna be the last show up of the new virtual BMW Turbo Cup cars, 1 week before we will have the chance to see them racing on the real racetrack in Lithuania. The first round will take place next weekend. If anybody has a chance to visit Lithuania, you are welcome to come to the legendary Nemuno Ziedas racetrack to see how these new BMW G20 cars perform on track. But before we do that, let's head over to the Botniaring racetrack located in Finland. Remember, we visited this track a couple of years ago. It's a very technical track and one of the most difficult racetracks any driver of the Baltics has entered, and hopefully that will create some very interesting racing action this afternoon. So with the most probably with the championship rivalry out of the way, it's simply start and finish for Grantas Karetskas. We still have a couple of battles for P3. Maybe even 2. Edvin Ziedas has 216 points. Kashoni has 169 points. Svetin has 163 together with Talianos. So looks like Ziedas might drop quite drastically in the standings after these 2 final races will get completed. It's definitely shame that Edvinas couldn't be here tonight with us. He's currently in Slovakia racetrack with the Dream to Drive team, working as a driver's coach. So basically, real life activities have come into the way of Edvin Ziedas in this nice battle for not only the championship win, but for the ability to win tests on the real racetracks with this BMW G20 vehicle? Yeah. Car. Okay, this is a slightly easier word. And there will be 2 other drivers who will receive this opportunity. One, the way they can get the prize is to be the highest ranked drivers from all the participants that have never raced in any of the BATCC races. Basically, they haven't hold a license ever before.
Yep, and what's well, it's gonna be difficult for Kashoni to get up the standings. 47 points is the difference from P1 Ziedas to to P3 where Kashoni is right now. The difficult thing will actually be because of Tadeusz now just in the championship now. It might be that he might be the spoiler here, and he might be the difficult part for Kashoni to gain those points. But right now in qualifying, still in P3, so doing what he needs to do, at least for the time being. But we'll see what happens as the races progress. If he finishes third twice, that would be enough for him to jump up into second in the standings. Grantas Karatskas, well, he just really needs to get to the end. He's got a 41-point buffer. He needs to gain 6 points to go equal with Žadeikis. He probably needs 7 just to be safe. I'm not sure where we stand on the countback situation for those two, but it's difficult to see a path for Grantas Karatskas to not win the championship here today.
Yeah, especially with the speed, with the pace that he carries through in this whole championship. He had the heaviest car basically right from the start, and he has always been there at the front. So I think the lowest we can count for Grantas Karatskas is maybe P7 or P8 after an unlucky start, but he definitely has the pace even with the heavy car. But Kashoni has now also 20 kilograms of ballast added to his vehicle. Svetins has only 5 of them, so he will have the lightest car here in comparison with his main contenders. Talianos has 10 kilograms of ballast on his car, and Joford has 15 kilograms. Joford is currently 6th with 162 points. It's very tight from P3 to P6. 4 drivers are separated only by 7 points, so that's gonna be a very big battle. And Joford has won the test session previous year with the 325 Cup car. So I think he doesn't hold a BATCC license, and maybe he is here participating to catch that test session again with this brand new vehicle, which is still basically in production, even though the race is 1 week away. We had tests this Tuesday with the new vehicles. We had we had 7 cars on the racetrack, so some of them had a couple of issues that have to be solved, and well, that's gonna be soon already known how these cars will perform on the real racetrack. And the participants of this championship, well, 3 of them will definitely get the chance to get their hands on these new cars.
Well, interesting circuit, definitely. I think it's going to be one of the better ones for racing. We've seen circuits where it's been very, very difficult to overtake for these guys. So this time we've got quite a few hairpins, quite a few big braking zones. That most of the time means easier overtaking. The front guys as well, they're carrying quite a bit of weight, all of them. So it might just even out, at least a little bit. We'll see what happens during the race. Little spin. And that is the end of this qualifying session. Tadeusz Juknavicius takes pole position. And 2 times now on pole, but only by 8 thousandths of a second ahead of Grantas Karatskas, who's gunning for that P2 in the championship. Then is Svetins, Oslund, Talianos, Narbutas, Joford, Bielskus, Meškelis, Vershinskas, Nikanen, Dimskis, Slisans, Roga, Ulvidaite, Sergeyevs, and Sirk rounds out the field. So 18 cars out on the circuit here today.
And we soon gonna find out who will take the highest step on the podium. Tadeusz Juknavicius, who has recently joined this championship just 1 race ago, has won it right from the start. He has 15 kilograms of weight ballast now added to his car. And I think he's now again the favorite to win this final race in calculation of both races. So both races give points for the drivers, and they are being calculated at the end after we will have some steward decisions for some incidents.
Well, hopefully we won't need too many decisions. Let's hope we can get through this race quite cleanly and have some good racing. Poznan was quite clean, so maybe the driver is getting used to the cars as well. New car for everyone as we get ready to go. The penultimate race of the 2025 E-Batcc is underway. Decent start from both the leaders. And I think that this might just have, maybe not actually. Grantas Karatskas goes to the inside. And they're side by side, a little bit of contact down into turn one. They're going to still continue side by side as they head down to turn two. Nope, Grantas Karatskas moves in behind. Then it's Svetins Kashoni down to fourth. Remember, P3 is where he needs to be both races, actually. So needs to figure out what he can do here. But it's a big jump up as well as you get to the top two places in terms of points. So maybe a solution is to get closer to pole position for race two. Here we go through the super duper fast chicane as they go into den the very, very difficult braking zone here after a, well, not really straight, but long section of flat out. And they go into another long section of flat out as they still go side by side. Quite a few Sim Studia cars out on track. Meshkadas and Bielskos side by side through the very, very long left. And as they go into the braking zone for this hairpin, good overtaking opportunity. Another overtake a little bit further up the field. But inside, definitely the preferred line here. Off wide, a few of the cars taking the rallycross line out on the exit. That was Kashoni, who's, well, down to fifth now. And under pressure from behind, that's Jofert. Narbutas to the outside, and I think maybe Taliano's down to the...
Yep. It was Taliano's in that yellow BATCC BMW overtaken, or actually defending from Narbutas. So Narbutas was having a look into P7. Taliano's had made a very decent defensive job. And off they go from the last corner onto the straight. Think that was Joffer who was having a look at Kashoni. Kashoni, by the way, lost a place to Ostlund and is now down to P5. It's not looking good, and he needs to go defensive from Jofert because he didn't have a great exit out of turn one. If they can hold on side by side, the next corner is going to be a left-hander, then it's going to turn into a right-hander, and they still going side by side, and this slows the whole bunch of cars down, and we definitely will have quite a lot of battles now down this lap because, well, they are creating a train situation. Kajoni still looks like that he's able to hold on to that P5 now, but around the outside goes Jofert into that third gear corner right-hander as Narbutas is looking at P7, and wow, still side by side. A couple of cars we have, like a couple of two cars side by side situation here, and now Kajoni has lost to Jofert. He will try to go into the inside of the corner. Jofert shuts the door. There's no space in here, but runs a little bit wide, opening the door for Kajoni on the exit. The next one's gonna be a left-hander, so that's going to be better for Jofert, but what a nice battles we are enjoying now on the final round and the opening laps of this first race as Narbutas dives into the inside of Talianos as he was looking into what's happening in front of him. So looks like some of the drivers are a little bit in a struggle. Talianos runs deep into the corner, still manages to go early on the power, a little bit of bumping And wow, still Talianos.
Well, he had the advantage. He was on the outside. That turns into the inside for the next hairpin. Talianos going actually a little bit defensive into turn one. I'm not sure he really needed to do that. Contact from behind. Narbutas giving him a little bit of a push on the apex. I don't think Talianos really needed to go defensive down into turn one. It's not a place where you can make an easy overtaking move if you don't have the overspeed. Now is a chance for Narbutas to maybe make the move. The corner will turn to the left once again, and once again, advantage Talianos. Big slide, huge slide, contact, and now he's off the road. Well, no more advantage for him as he's, well, recovering from somewhere in the bushes as it's 1, 2, 3 lines of 2 wide cars. Yep, still side by side. This is Meškelis and Narbutas, and contact from behind, more contact from behind. Veršickas tried to make it 3 wide, didn't happen, and Bielskus takes advantage of that opportunity. These guys are really on it, trying to battle hard. This is, by the way, kind of a battle for the golden ticket pole position for race number 2, as P10 gets pole position for the next one, so nobody wants to be 11th, but still side by side. Meškelis takes that position back. He's going to have to defend, I think, here coming into that hairpin. It is an overtaking opportunity, but just a little bit too far is Bielskus. Holds on to that position. Kashoni maybe trying to put Joe Furt under pressure, but not close enough just yet. This track, well, it's giving us quite a bit of racing action. Quite wide as well in some parts. Gets narrower in others, but big braking zones. They give us good opportunities for overtakes. Talianos, watch this guy, because he's going to be on a charge from the back of the field. But, well, 5 seconds to P10. It's going to be a challenge. You'd have to be gaining quite a lot per lap.
I think Talianos lost it on his own, didn't he? Or he had a small spin and that got tapped from behind.
I felt like he started sliding on his own, but then, well, the end he got helped by the drivers behind.
Yeah,
I wouldn't really put the fault on them because they were side by side as well, so it was too wide behind. Neither of them really had anywhere to go. The guy in front of you spins. I mean, where are you meant to go?
Yeah,
by the way, Grantas Karatska still at the front of the field.
Second.
If he finishes, well, second, yeah, but still at that front pack. If he finishes second here, and we don't see a big gain from Svetens or Kashoni, this would be championship sealed by Grantas Karatskas.
Yep, so championship race, championship running minutes for Grantas Karatskas, and as we know Grantas from heart, I'm pretty sure he will avoid any possible mistakes. One of the fastest drivers, sim racing drivers in Lithuania, one of the new real racetrack drivers in BATCC. Grantas Karetskas joined the Dream to Drive team last year, had already his chance on the racetrack and proved that he's not only fast behind the wheel of his simulator at home, he's also fast in the real cars. He has driven the 325 Cup car last year, and to everyone's surprise, well, maybe it wasn't a big surprise, but he definitely showed huge potential and had pace right from the start. And well, he also won the Dream to Drive Championship, not only driving virtual cars but also the real life sessions. He beat some guys who had more real track experience. Grantas Karetskas at that time was only 18 years old and still didn't hold a driver's license. He needed to learn to control the H-shifter car, and I think that was the most difficult part for Grantas Karetskas at that point, but he came through that and well, never looked back, and already waiting for the new season. I wonder what car will Dream to Drive give for Grantas Karetskas this year to participate. And by the way, Dream to Drive team are currently in Slovakia ring, battling in the first European Porsche Cup Championship or so. It's a very long name. I always tend to forget it.
It's Porsche Sprint Challenge Central Europe.
Yes, exactly. You have a fresher memory, and it's a little bit easier for you. But you nailed it.
Talking about it yesterday, I had to look the name up.
Yeah, I spoke about it with Toros today, but still forgot the name. What you do at my age.
Definitely long name for a championship. They should consider something easier.
Well, yeah, I think they call it PSCCE, don't they? Like
that's not really easier, is it?
it is. Maybe just a bit. Maybe just a bit. Back to the E-Batcc Championship, racing on the track. Talianos is up to P13. He's currently 4 seconds off the provisional pole position for race 2. 10 minutes on the clock, so you never know the outcome yet. Talianos lost plenty of places in that accident, but he still has his chance here on this very technical racetrack in Finland. The hairpins, the SS, the bankings, they make this track so difficult, and to choose the right line, the fastest line, is definitely quite challenging for the drivers. Not only on the virtual racetrack, we had plenty of issues on the real track, learned a lot, and now back to the virtual track again. It's a shame we will not visit this racetrack with the BATCC Championship this year. It was definitely a very nice experience. Maybe next year.
It is a little bit of a logistical challenge as well for the teams, but
yep, you have to go over the Baltic Sea, so it's easy for the drivers get on the plane and fly over there. But it's a bit more challenging with all the technicalities and of course the cars to have them delivered to the track, which is quite far away, well, not much further, but it's definitely further than the Tour Poznan racetrack. Yeah, but still, it's definitely a very great place to have some battles taking place on the track. By the way,
Talianos, by the way, have a look at Talianos, up to 12th already. Remember, he was pretty much dead last at one point, pulling the gap down, but he needs a 10th place finish. So to me, that just looks just that little bit too far away.
Yep.
You'd need to be gaining about a second a lap. Maybe some more battles in front. He could get lucky, but a good recovery anyway, up to P12 and soon to be 11th, I would say.
Yep, Gytis Dimskis is the next car to be overtaken by Talianos if well, he performs smooth. But Vershinskas is probably a little bit too fast for Talianos, and on the previous lap, as Talianos was making an overtake, Vershinskas was even faster, so the time is running out quite fast. This is a very long lap of 1 minute and 53, 1 minute and 54 seconds, meaning that there are not many laps on the map here for this first race, so it doesn't look so promising for Talianos to still take that pole position. But he'll definitely fight for it, because we have a couple of hot spots on the racetrack. Narbutas and Meškelis separated by 1 second. Joffert and Kashoni are quite close together. So Kashoni was not able to take that P5 place back, and Joffert is disappearing into the distance. Ostlund is also looking into P3 finish here. Remember the standings. Svetens needs good points. Ostlund is currently 9 with 104 points, so it's definitely much more important for Svetens to take that P3 position. He's battling with Kajoni and Talianos here, and currently Svetens looking best out of the 3 drivers who are battling for P3 now.
So if we right now, so stays P3, he would be 28 points behind Radeke, so he would need a P2 finish in the second race. Right now, with the way it stands, he's actually equal with Kashoni on points. Kashoni would need a P2 finish as well. However, with where Kashoni is on the track, he's, I would say he's more likely to get that P2 finish in the second race. He'd be starting in P4. Svetens would be starting a bit further back. He'd need a mega run through the field to finish second, but we've seen crazier things happen, and he's obviously under pressure from Ostlund. If he loses this position to Ostlund, that would mean he would need to win the next race to get P2 in the championship. So an important position to keep, because P2, I think, is definitely easier than getting P1 in that second race. We've seen the guys in P1 in the second races we've had so far this season run away from the field many times just because they've got a little bit more pace. Maybe they got unlucky in race 1. They get in front and they get away, especially with drivers behind battling. So still under pressure. Svetens. This is Wyszynska's. He's on provisional pole. Now, if Talianos would catch up, well, I'd be betting my money on him to win the second race. But right now, I can't see that happening. 4 seconds is that gap. It's coming down, sure. But yeah, we need to get much closer. Actually, if he did get that position, and if he did win the second race, he'd be up into second in the championship. So that position, extremely important for Talianos as well.
Yeah, but it's a little bit too hard unless Wyszynska's makes a mistake here somewhere in this final 4 minutes, which I don't see happening because Wyszynska's is putting in some nice stable lap times here, running 10th on that provisional pole position, and I'm pretty sure he's quite focused on his mission right now. Remember, we had already a couple of races where the driver who finished 10th in the first race was able to win the second one because the faster drivers, they get stuck behind their rivals who are just a tiny bit slower, and it's definitely very difficult to make a successful overtake here in these identical BMWs, which are slightly slower, have only mechanical grip to offer for the drivers, which basically makes the driving very equal and the overtakes very technical. Maybe on this racetrack it's a little bit easier. Remember, in the first laps we had plenty of battles here on the racetrack, a lot of side-by-side situations. So maybe this track will have something on the table for the fastest faster drivers on the opening laps. We will get that in a couple of minutes. Now Svetens is definitely focused on what's happening in front of him. He's now 3.5 seconds behind Kareckas, but only half of a second ahead of Ostlund, feeling that huge pressure from behind. I'm pretty sure he's sweating quite a lot while sitting in his sim.
Svetens is sweating.
Svetens is sweating definitely here on these final laps. By the way, this is the penultimate lap of the first race of the final round in the E-Batcc BMW Turbo Cup Championship, powered by Lick Racing Division, who have offered the very nice prizes for the championship contenders. And this is going to be a huge one. Grantas Kareckas, well, he is looking in front and he will enjoy the second race for the maximum. Maybe we will see a slightly more riskier Grantas Kareckas because, well, by finishing second, he will have a couple of chances to offer himself to take riskier moves. Wow, Svetens runs a little bit wide, opens up the door for Ostlund on the penultimate lap, and we have a side-by-side situation. Svetens will hold the better line into the next left-hander as we approach the very end of this penultimate lap. Svetens, with that tight entry into the corner, lost the traction on the exit, still holds on to P3, but this is a nice hint for Östlund. He still can do it on this final lap and take that P3 away from Svetens, which would be a huge point loss for the driver from Latvia. So he will need to hold his focus to the maximum here on the final 4 kilometers track. Yep, 4.014 meters. As he had a better exit from the penultimate and the first corner. Got away a little bit further. He needs to focus, though he runs a little bit wide. Maybe he was taking just a tiny bit different line. He went deeper into that left-hander. And I think Östlund got himself a little bit closer. Maybe this is the part of the track where Svetens struggles a bit. Oh, as Östlund having a small look, and there's a contact, and he sends Svetens off the racetrack, and this is not the result, not the outcome that Svetens was expecting. He will not care about the penalties that Östlund might be facing. He has lost not 1 but 2 places and is now down to P5, just ahead of Khashoggi. This is basically dream come true for Khashoggi, who is battling for P3 in the overall standings. Well, still looking at P2 finish in the final run. Wow, what a shame for Svetens, and maybe that's gonna give a penalty for Östlund, because there was definitely an avoidable contact here. He's now 5.2 seconds ahead of Svetens, so I wonder what the judges will look and decide in this accident, but that's gonna be known just after the both races will finish.
Yep. Difficult, but
is this a finish? Oh, okay.
yep, it's the checkered flag as Grantas Karatskas takes the championship. 2025 E-Batcc BMW Turbo Cup goes to Grantas Karatskas. Very we didn't catch that. We didn't catch him crossing the line, but the championship goes to him. That is now confirmed. Nobody can catch him unless Edna Žadeikis would join race 2 somehow. I don't think that's really possible. So Grantas Karatskas takes the championship. Now all eyes turn on to the battle for P2. And looking at the battle for P2, well, we've got a big one. Svetens, Talianos, Jofert, and Khashoggi can win it. Can take second. Svetens, Talianos, and Jofert can only take second place in the championship if they win the next race. Khashoggi, well, P2 would be enough for him. Khashoggi starting from 4th, he'd be on the reverse grid. So best chances at that P2 position for him, that is for sure.
A small break for the drivers to relax. Let's watch a couple of videos and we'll be back with hot live action from the last race.
Gear up for the ride of your life. Shop now.
I've been looking for it. I think I found something to help with easing the pain. This voice inside my head isn't dead. I think it's growing. Soon we will be one and the same. I've been going to the racetrack. Spent all my money on the dog in the bed. I put my heart into it, 8-track, how about that? My life was perfect, now it's starting to crack. Oh no.
up for the ride of your life. Shop now.
All my life been looking for it. I think I found something to help with easing the pain. This voice inside my head isn't dead. I think it's growing. Soon we will be one and the same. I've been going to the racetrack. Spent all my money on the dog in the bed. I put my heart into an 8-track. How about that? My life was perfect, now it's starting to crack. Oh no.
Welcome back to the circuit, and welcome to what is now going to be our final race of this championship. So very, very long season already done. Well, not very, very long, but it felt quite long with how many races we actually did throughout the season.
Yep, so 5 rounds, and that's going to be the 10th race of the championship. I think we already have the championship winner, but there's a very nice battle for, well, currently, let's say P2. Ziedas is not present here, so it's going to be really interesting to see how Cashoni, Svetens, Italianos and Jofert will battle this one out.
Yep, this will definitely be interesting, as here we go, lights out for our final race of this season. Vishinskas, well, he's taking a very, very wide line into turn one. He had the advantage, as then it's Bielskus, Meshkanis, Narbuta, Svetens, Kashoni, and 6. Svetens up into 4th now.
Oh, Meshkalis and Bielskus. Yeah, they had a contact on the exit of turn 1, and there's a gravel on the inside. Well, in a Assetto Corsa platform, you get holed up pretty badly if you put one wheel on the grass, and that sent Meshkalis down into P12.
Off wide once again, very, very wide. Karatskas, was it?
No, that's Ostlund. Karatskas survives it, and he's still P8. Remember, he can finish in P10, in any position in P10, I believe. Maybe even higher. Oh, that's Dimskis being sent sideways. There's a lot of drama here in the second race. Dimskis now has been pushed. Meshkalis up to P8.
Karatskas can quit. I mean, he doesn't need to finish this one.
Wow,
he's got it sealed up. So it's fine. For him, it's fine. It doesn't matter where he finishes. All we're looking at is that battle for P2 in the championship, and who, if anybody, can catch Edna Ziedas, or who will take P3 then, if they can't catch him.
Oh, Svetten had a very nice
start. There is an opportunity for Ziedas to not actually even be in the top 3. It would require quite a lucky finish, let's say, for everybody else, but there is an option for that as well. But watching Kashoni, for example, in P5, well, Kashoni needs a 2nd place here. Svetens to win this one, to be 2nd in the championship. Not out of the question, really. I mean, Svetens only a 2nd off the lead. And there's side-by-side Vishinskas and Narbutas for the lead of the race. Narbutas down the inside gets the position, but he's going to be under pressure. Svetens, well, he needs to think what to do here. He kind of wants to get through on these guys. He's now got Kashoni behind him in P4. So actually, this would be the scenario where we see Edna Ziedas out of the top 3 in the championship. If Svetens wins and Kashoni is 2nd, that's the only opportunity here. It would require some luck, but actually cards falling into place.
Wow, and there goes your opportunity.
Yep, but Narbutas, well, side by side in contact with Vishinskas. Svetens trying to think to do something.
Whoa.
Well, he's going to go down in the middle of a sandwich here. Not a great place to be, and pretty smart to back out of that one. And that is Vishinskas still to the inside. Yep. And to the outside goes Svetens, and I think he actually might get the position just if he gets a good enough exit out of the hairpin. I don't know if that's enough, but he's going to be down the inside into the next hairpin. And actually, Kashoni wanted to thought about making a move there, but did side by side a little bit of contact, but that's Rubin's racing, and I think that's going to be fine. As Svetens moves up into P2, still under pressure from behind as Kashoni trying to go down the inside now of Vershinskas. Bielskus is there as well to pick up the scraps if anything goes wrong with these two up in front, right to the back bumper, almost giving it a push, but to the inside. Actually, great exit from the final turn. He's going to go down the inside into turn one. Bielskus actually capitalizes on that one as well.
Bielskus.
A little bit of contact. And super wide.
Bielskus was sent onto the same gravel that he has sent Meškalis in the first lap. Now he can feel how clamp the gravel is on the outside of the racetrack. Lost plenty of places. Now he's 2 seconds behind Grantas Kareckas, who moved up to P7, and it looks like Grantas Kareckas just patiently waiting and rolling there behind Talianos. Quite close to his rival. He's already the champion of the season, but he definitely needs to enjoy the racing as Juknavicius now on the attack of Bielskus, who lost quite a lot of time. Goes to the inside, Bielskus leaves the door open, and I'm not sure if he kind of was a little bit sleepy or is still not over after that accident from turn one.
Maybe he didn't even want to fight Juknavicius. I mean, it's not really a battle he expected to be in. What's very interesting, though, is, again, like we saw in Poznan 2 weeks ago, Juknavicius not really making way through the field as quickly as we might expect from him. Kareckas down the inside of Talianos, pushes him onto the grass, but actually the grass doesn't slow him down now. Talianos to the inside into the next hairpin. He's actually battling this one, trying to keep in P6, stays in P6. Juknavicius 8th, Kareckas 7th. So these two not really moving forward as quickly as, for example, Svetens has, who's up into P2 now. And, well, he needs P1 to be second in the championship. So a second separates him and the leader. Not that much.
Yeah, still.
And definitely doable.
We will have clear results after both of the finishes of the races will finish, and we had definitely some accidents, and also in the first race, Svetens was looking in a P3 finish with that bump from Ostlund. He finished 5th, but he still might get P4, I believe, from race 1. So if that would happen, would that be enough for Svetens to finish P2 and take the second position in the overall standings? You have all the calculations.
No, that doesn't change anything.
So P4 and P2 keeps Ziedas in P2 in the overall standings. Yes. Okay, yep. So Svetens is looking to gain on Narbutas, who was very fast in first race, and he's also fast in this one. Both of them are basically equally fast, as we have this battle behind Vershinskas, Kajoni and Jofert side by side, as Vershinskas is just minding his own business, looking at in front of him and, well, having a glance into the rear view mirrors. Well, Vershinskas goes defensive, Kajoni goes middle defensive, and Vershinskas runs a little bit wide because of the tighter entry, overshoots the corner, gives a chance for Kajoni to take that P3 now that he needs. And Kajoni, if he'll be able to get in front of Vershinskas... Oh, look at Kareckas. Is that Kareckas behind? Yep, Kareckas and Talianos.
Inside of Talianos, still not getting through is Kashoni. P3, anyway, would not be enough for him. He does need a P2 if he wants to move up in the standings. And actually, his... really, whatever happens, he needs to get into P2, because if he doesn't get into P2, and Svetens wins, he will finish as 3rd in the championship. So, not really a gain there either. This is still the battle for P3. Kashoni, well, he wants to get past these guys as quickly as possible, but he keeps, well, going to the outside. Look, he's allowing cars in. This is the battle for
Italiano's
P6
deep.
as well. As Italianos goes deep, Carrascas gets that place. Says, thank you very much. And on to Juknavicius now for Italiano. So pressure is unrelenting, and I think through the chicane, yep, Juknavicius being smart gets him to back out of that one to the inside. There goes Jofert. And, well, spoils the party for Kashoni, who, well, he didn't really race smart, to be honest. He was always trying to go to the outside, and clearly, well, it didn't work. This whole lap, he's kind of opened the door, and this time, he opened the door enough for Jofert to actually get the position. Let's see what happens here.
Around the outside.
Yep, that's the entry. That's the super fast entry. You can have a really fast entry on the outside. And, well, Jofert, full commitment. He's going to go down the inside of Vershinskas and probably get that position as well. Gets on the power early enough to close out any opportunity there. Now, Karatskas and Juknavicius side by side almost on the exit. Kashoni under pressure from Karatskas. So, in, well, in the lap, essentially, he's gone from a chance to attack for P2 to now a chance of being attacked and dropping down to 7th.
Wow, so Narbutas pulling away from Svedins, but what a battle we have here for P3. Jofert currently jumped into that position, and it looks like he's pulling away from Vershinskas right now. So by the looks of it, Vershinskas is the driver to hold that group of cars and create a train situation, giving chance for Karetskas to finish off this championship on a very high note, not only taking the win in the overall standings, but he's looking for a podium place here in this final race. Of course, it's still a long way to go in the count of positions, only 10 minutes on the clock. Well, I think Vershinskas is kind of creating the situation and the possibilities for the drivers behind. Look at the gap now between Vershinskas and Jofert. It's already 9 tenths.
Playing bumper cars behind. This is actually extremely good for Jofert. If it were to stay as it is right now, Jofert would jump up into 4th in the championship. Wouldn't change too much, but still a good result. Going, well, he's come from the back. He was the last of the cars that could, in theory, overtake Ziedas. So, good job on him for having a good recovery. Karatskas is still trying to attack
Kashoni running deep.
A little bit deep and gives up that position. Well, they're going to go somebody right off the road.
I think that's Meshkalis.
Yep, Meshkalis trying the rally cross line, and I think that's going to be position. Karatskas, yep, gets the position, closes out any opportunity for a fight back, and, well, Kashoni, he's lost a lot of time.
Look at the gap that the leaders could were able to create as the drivers behind in this very huge, intense battle. They are not going the usual pace, and that allows a lot of drivers to gather up behind those battling for P4 now. And, well, actually for P5 at this moment, Karetskas got that position after a little bit of rubbing with Kashoni. Juknavicius is the next driver in line. It doesn't look good for Kashoni in this championship battle. It was looking okay up until one moment in this final race of the championship. Doesn't seem so good anymore, and I'm just wondering how many more places he'll lose, and now he's, well, the same situation as it was with Bielskus. Kind of the driver didn't expect Juknavicius to dive into the inside, and, well, they tried to take the ideal line, and it was more than enough for Juknavicius, and now that overtake has looked so easy from Juknavicius' point of view, as Meshkalis bump and drafts with Italianos, tries to gain closer on Kashoni that way. Another, well, smart driving from Meshkalis. We've seen a couple of situations where Meshkalis takes some very interesting but clever decisions. and now dives into the inside of the corner, an overtaking maneuver, and it looks like it's successful. Very nice jump from Meškelis, the victim of the first turn incident, and he is now back up to P8. I think he was running 8 after the recovery drive. He's now 8th, right behind Kasjoni, as Kareckas is now interested in P4 in this race. Jofert looks to be safe with that P3 finish in this second race, especially as we don't have a lot of time on the clock for the drivers to battle this one out. One would hope for a 50 minutes race at least, when we have such huge battles on the racetrack. Side by side goes Vershinskas and Kareckas into that right hander. If Kareckas will be able to hold on to the outside line, he will have the inside for the next corner. It's very close and tight between the two drivers and a twisty part of the racetrack. The next one is a right hander in favor for Vershinskas. A bigger contact now between the champion and Vershinskas, and I think that has slowed Vershinskas' car a little bit too much, allowing Kareckas through just before the chicane. Tadas Juchnavičius was trying to be a smart guy. That didn't work out, and Kasjoni losing it.
Kasjoni, that's day over for him.
And again,
and a good start, and it's just been getting worse and worse and worse.
And Meškelis again was a victim of an accident happening in front. He had nowhere to go, bumped into Kasjoni's car, lost a couple of places. Through goes Bielskos, Talianos, and Nikanen, as Juchnavičius is still right on the tail of Vershinskas. Well, looking at the race situation here, I don't think we can trust the final results that we will see on our screen after the race will finish. Juchnavičius, I think that was a little bit too aggressive, and that didn't look too beautiful here. Pushed his rival right off the racetrack into the clutches of Talianos, went further, and I didn't like this one too much. I think Juchnavičius was maybe a little bit too aggressive on that throttle on the exit of the corner, as Vershinskas was still around the outside. So not a very beautiful final minutes for the winner of the previous rounds, as Vershinskas lost another position to Talianos, and by the way, there was another contact between Talianos and Vershinskas. Except Talianos didn't send Vershinskas off the racetrack.
Yep, so right now the only thing we really know is that Svetens needs to get into the lead. That's not really going to be, it's not going to be under pressure from any penalties, I would say. So even if he went up a position for race 1, that wouldn't really change anything for him. It would just put him, instead of 3 points behind Žadeikis, it would be 1 point behind Žadeikis for Svetens. So he needs.
And it's getting tighter. It's getting tighter. At one point, it was 2 seconds gap between Narbutas and Svetens. I think Narbutas made a mistake.
I was trying to watch it the whole time, and it looked pretty similar. It never really went up that gap. It's always been at about that second range. Sometimes I saw Svetens kind of get closer, maybe gain a 10 for 2 a lap, but it's never really been enough. And, he would have to mount something pretty crazy. It's going to be 2 laps to go as they cross the line. It's about half a second a lap that he would now have to gain. Well, if he's got any more turbo boost than the BMW, he should use it now. The engine, it's going in the parts bin after this race. Can throw it out into the trash. The season will be over. And big slide from Narbutas actually coming out the final turn. So this might be that opportunity that they'd want. Grantas Kareckas, takes the fastest lap of the race. Haven't seen him do that in a while, actually. He's been running with so much weight for so long. But nice to see him enjoying himself, I'd say, getting that fastest lap of the race. But back to that battle for the lead. That's really our only real big battle out on track, and it has championship implications here. Again, Svetens loses a little bit, at least through Sector 1, so not that great. And
Yeah, he's still
Getting
focused.
closer
This
in
is
the braking zones.
This is the penultimate lap, by the way, so there's gonna be only one lap to go, and I think Narbutas has all this win in his hands, just needs to hold on, definitely push it to the maximum, because Svetens is right on the tail, and he was 3/10 faster on the previous lap. So putting some nice pressure on Narbutas on the final laps and running a little bit deep on this banked corner.
I think that's really how you take that line to carry a lot of speed in. If you see the front two, nothing really changed in terms of the gap. And actually, if Svetens was about 3/10 closer here, he'd maybe be able to think of something, maybe a fake out move into any of the braking zones, but not really an opportunity right now, unfortunately. So we'll see what he can do. Look at that big gain throughout that final sector. So looking good in the final section of the track, but still that gap stays, well, almost the same. Let's see what they do on this lap as our timing screen updates. I think it's updated enough. The gap in terms of lap time between these two, 1,000th of a second. That's the difference. Svetens and Narbutas. And actually, Narbutas, not a great exit out of turn 1. That's been a section of the circuit he's been good at. So he's under pressure. He's feeling the pressure. Look at that gap just coming down a little bit, down to 0.57 of a second now. And Svetens, he needs a good exit out of here if he wants to gain the slipstream coming into effect that we might just have that grandstand finish under half a second, probably for the first time in this race. So definitely feeling the pressure is Narbutas, and you can see him make these slight mistakes, but on the exit here, he's been clean, and the gap stayed the same. Svetens gaining a little bit in the draft as they get closer and closer to the end of the lap and the end of the race and the end of the championship. To the inside, maybe if Svetens is very, very crazy. Looks like a little bit of a defense from Narbutas. Maybe looks like he's just a little bit tighter. This is going to be advantage on the exit for Svetens, but not really. Actually, Narbutas quicker through that turn. And Svetens can't find anything into this braking zone either. I think that's going to be it. Svetens, well, he will take P3 in the championship, so that might just be good enough for him. Unfortunately, not P1. And Narbutas will take this final race win of the season and help his Sim Studio liveried, well, I could say almost teammate, Edna Ziedas, take second in the championship. Narbutas wins ahead of Svetens, so Svetens P3 in the championship and Ziedas P2. That is your finish. Grantaskatzes recovers to, gains to fourth. You can now choose fifth, sixth for Italianos, and we'll run through the grid very, very shortly. But what an end to this season.
Oh, Kashani only 12th after that spin. There will be definitely penalties post-race, but that's not going to change the situation in the championship winning standing situation. Grantas Karetskas has become a champion, and I'd say it was the easiest race out of the five races that took place in this championship, due to Edvina Žadeikis not being present here this afternoon. But we had a very exciting final round, and I think the Botniaring has produced the most interesting racing battles on the racetrack so far I can remember out of the 5 tracks we've visited. But anyways, the championship is over. The penalties are yet to be handed out for the second and the first race, so the results might differ slightly. So these are only the provisional results, and if you are following up with this championship and want to see the outcome, well, you can follow the media or our us on social platforms, or you can just go over to worldsimseries.com website, find the championship, and you will see the results. I think tomorrow in the morning that's gonna be a deal done situation.
Yep, and next week, Tuesday next week, we'll be heading to Brno for what I believe is the final round of the Porsche Fever Series as well. So lots more racing action on World Sim Series. So head on over worldsimseries.com, register for free and participate. Thank you very much to the Baltic Touring Car Championship and to all of the partners and sponsors of the E-Batcc BMW Turbo Cup.
Yep, shout out to Lick Racing Division for the fabulous prizes and for the possibility of witnessing these incredible battles on the virtual racetracks. Don't forget, if you have a chance, just visit the BATCC Championship next week in Kaunas, in a track located near Kaunas, the Nemuno Ziedas racetrack. And now I think it's the best moment for us to say goodbye and, hear you next time.
Gear up for the ride of your life. Shop now.
All my life been looking for it. I think I found something to help with easing the pain. This voice inside my head isn't dead. I think it's growing. Soon we will be one and the same. I've been going to the racetrack.